Time to steal from Airbnb. Again, Airbnb is a massive marketing machine, and here at Rental Scale Up, we often dissect Airbnb's strategy to analyze how they might apply to or be adapted and adopted by property managers everywhere. This time, we're talking about how Airbnb fights regulations, using Spain as the case study. And let's be clear, this isn't the first time that Airbnb is doing this. From grassroots movements to adaptive strategies, we've previously covered in depth how Airbnb fights short term rental bans and secures market presence. And even though today I'm talking about Airbnb putting in groundwork to fight restrictive regulations in Spain, Airbnb's fight isn't just about one country. It's about shaping the rules of the game for short term rentals across the EU, the US, and beyond. Today, we're breaking down Airbnb's strategy not just to understand what's at stake in Spain, but to uncover lessons that could help hosts and managers anywhere fight for fair and balanced regulations. Hi, I'm Yuvika Wahi from Rental Scale Up, your go to source for short term rental news and insights. Airbnb has been plenty vocal about the need for fairer rules governing short term rentals in Spain and in the world. The company this time is arguing that overly restrictive policies hurt not just their business but also rural communities and families who depend on rental income and the tourism economy as a whole. Airbnb's vision, it seems, is for regulations that treat professional managers and occasional hosts differently and take into account the specific needs of rural versus urban areas. Let's talk about the regulatory landscape that Airbnb is reacting to. In recent years, Spain has introduced stricter rules to address housing shortages, community disruptions, and over tourism. For instance, in June 2024, Barcelona effectively introduced a ban on short term rentals. By November 2028, all licenses for the city's 10,101 tourist apartments will be revoked, effectively transforming these properties into long term residential homes. Just earlier this month, Spanish PM Pedro Sanchez announced plans to raise taxes on holiday rentals, aligning them with business taxation. Spain's Supreme Court has also recently made a landmark ruling that allows homeowners associations to ban short term rentals within their buildings. While these measures are designed to address real issues, Airbnb argues that they disproportionately favor big hotel chains and focus on urban policies, sidelining smaller operators and rural communities. For instance, in cities like Barcelona, stringent zoning laws often make it nearly impossible for small scale operators to compete, while large hotel chains remain unaffected. Others point out that regulations targeting short term rentals do little to address deeper housing issues, such as stagnant construction rates and rising material costs. And that's where Airbnb's counter narrative comes in. So, what's Airbnb proposing? Their vision revolves around four key points. Number one is differentiating hosts. Airbnb argues that occasional hosts, families renting out spare rooms or their homes, shouldn't face the same rules as professional property managers. This distinction, Airbnb says, prevents smaller hosts from being unfairly penalized. Number two is supporting rural economies. Airbnb highlights how short term rentals can revitalize rural areas where tourism dollars are needed most. A PwC report commissioned by Airbnb notes that short term rentals are predominantly located in secondary residences, which are more common in smaller towns and rural areas than in high demand urban centers. The report also highlights that in major cities like Barcelona and Madrid, short term rental presence is limited, with percentages of just 0.34 and 1.05 respectively. Number three is simplified compliance. Airbnb is calling for a streamlined licensing process, making it easier for hosts to follow the rules without jumping through hoops. Number four is a call for fair regulations across the board. Airbnb wants short term rentals and traditional hotels to be held to the same standards or similar standards. They argue the playing field should be leveled. Now, let's take a step back. Why is Airbnb pushing so hard for these changes? Well, there are a few reasons. Number one is market protection. Spain is a major market for Airbnb, and restrictive rules could hurt their revenue and host base. By advocating for lenient regulations, Airbnb is securing its business interests while also aligning with broader industry trends of highlighting tourism's economic contributions. However, whether these actions fully address community concerns about housing affordability and neighborhood cohesion remains a point of contention. Next is reframing the narrative. Airbnb is positioning itself as a partner to local economies. For instance, their report claims that short-term rentals contributed 30 billion euros to Spain's GDP in 2023 and supported 400,000 jobs. These numbers paint a positive picture of Airbnb's impact. Next is countering the hotel lobby. The hotel industry has long argued for tighter regulations on short term rentals. By presenting data that shows short term rentals account for only 0.5% of tourist dedicated properties, Airbnb is countering claims that short term rentals cause housing shortages. So what does this all mean for hosts and short term rental managers? Whether you're in Spain or elsewhere, here are some key lessons. Number one, as always, is to embrace data. Just like Airbnb, gather data on the economic impact of your rentals. Numbers can be powerful when advocating for fair regulations. And you could argue Airbnb has done some of the work for you by commissioning these reports. Second would be to help the industry highlight the difference between occasional hosts and professional managers better, which can help policymakers craft more balanced and more fitting rules. Number three is to advocate for simplicity, push for streamlined licensing processes that make compliance achievable for everyone. And next is obviously to engage with policymakers. Don't wait for decisions to be made without your input. Join associations, attend public forums, and make your voice heard. Next, consider diversifying your offerings. For example, expanding into rural areas or offering longer term rental options. This not only aligns with Airbnb's vision, but also industry trends and can also shield you from urban specific restrictions. If you're interested in diving in more into this particular aspect, do tune into our free webinar happening in February and subscribe to our newsletter for more information. Finally, Airbnb's vision for fairer regulations in Spain offers insight for anyone navigating the challenges of short term rental regulations in Spain or elsewhere. By understanding Airbnb's approach and motivations, you can find ways to adapt and advocate whether you're managing a single property or a huge portfolio. Let me know in the comments what you think about Airbnb's proposals and how regulations are shaping the short term rental landscape in your market. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share for more insights into the world of short term rentals. Till next time.